all these Kassadin bans actually sort of made me want to see Kassadin now. You know, what is the threat that these professional teams know about that we actually don't really know?
It probably, again, it goes back to Kassadin's ability to shut down the popular mids right now with his new Q. Because it does make him stronger in lane, and it makes him stronger at assassination against those specific targets. Also, he can deny AP assassins by hitting them with his Q.
So Najin banning out Shyvana and taking the Jax.
And taking the Jax. So I guess they don't want to go up against Shyvana. I guess they deemed like that was a little... Shy has played an amazing Shyvana tonight and throughout the series, so I can see the Shyvana ban. The Twitch ban is just because first pick, you can't just give away Twitch. So definitely going to be the most contested pick of the night.
So Najin seems to be attempting to shut down Shy. That they don't want to face his Shyvana, they don't want to face his Jax, so ban out Shyvana and take Jax's first pick. What are you going to do now? Right. And they're not afraid of CJ Frost's bot lane at the moment. It seems like, although they did ban out the Thresh.
They beat them last game. They did. Pran Kane they outplayed Mad Life in space.
Right, and I really think that the bot lane winning really tilted things to Najin's favor, actually. That the bot lane was outplayed, and the CS deficit was building up, even when they were pretty much uninterrupted throughout the entire game.
Correct.
So, no reason to really be afraid. Are they going Swift is hovering with the Lee Sin, and Mundo, yes. I mean, he's almost forced into a Mundo pick, it seems.
Shy on Mundo. That, you know, he played a beautiful teleport Mundo, representing, you know, almost looked like Looper.
Right.
Teleport, you know, Looper very known for his teleport Mundo in Korea. Now if he does elect to play Jax top, then he does have 2 games on Jax in the past. So we'll see how he does against that. Right. But Mundo not locked in, so we have Lee Sin and Lucian. On cover coming in. It looks like they're discussing it right now.
Right. I mean, Nagne is an extremely versatile player. Actually, throughout the games, Nagne seemed to be really consistent. And there's Kai's Nami again. Something we didn't actually mention in the cast so often, but Kai's Nami seem to have made some really crucial plays throughout the team fights.
Right. One thing that's nice about Nanya is he has a very diverse champion pool in the sense he hasn't played actually before this series. He has not played any champion more than twice. Right. So that's good.
And Mundo picked as expected, and Leona.
Okay, so it looks like they wanted to secure Lucian before Mundo. Maybe they felt like Jax isn't going to go into the jungle. He's committed to top. They're not going to take Mundo away. So you secure the Lucian and just move on with your picks and bans.
Right. Vayne. Are we going to see Vayne?
I don't see Vayne getting a pick here. It doesn't make sense against the team comp. Generally, you pick Vayne to shred extremely tanky teams because that true damage comes in. Teams that rely on gap closers to get close but don't have many of them. We've seen Imp in the past pick Vayne. Teams that have Renekton's. You can pick Vayne against Alistar to counter the ultimate because Vayne just shreds it.
Braves, Draven, he's hovering in. Praise Draven actually known for the wrong reasons, but he does lock in the Boris and the Kazakhs too.
Kazakhs,
so it's going to be top Jax.
It's going to be top Jax and Kazakhs in the jungle. So it's going to be a very interesting team comp. They are going to have tankiness from the heal on Nami, the Jax, his ultimate, Kazakhs, his ultimate. So they have a good dynamic right now. And what I'm wondering is Shy going to be playing Lee Sin, or are they going to... Oh, no, Mundo. So Lee Sin will definitely go to Swift, which, again, Swift is very comfortable on Lee Sin. Especially in Korean solo queue, he does play that a lot.
So now they're left to pick a mid, and no wonder they're... It's not surprising that they're really delving into which pick to pick, because picking against LeBlanc is really tough, especially with Castle Man now.
Right.
Coco's going to lean towards the Nidalee, which actually doesn't... Oh, Kale!
Oh, Kale! Are they going to put that all on Leona or Mundo?
Kale is locked in!
Kale's locked in, and it looks like Coco on Kale. So this is going to be extremely interesting.
Right. I might be wrong, but I think this is the first time we've seen mid Kale in competitive League of Legends so far.
Right.
I mean, at least in this split. I mean, we've seen Najin Shield's Goon use Kale a few times, but other than that, also given that Kale is considered to be a little vulnerable to mid ganks early on in the game, especially because Kale is forced to push lane if he is to harass, right?
Correct. But Kale does have the ultimate, which can be cast on Leona, Lee Sin, Mundo, all these situations. That damage is insane. It creates really interesting peel. It has a heal dynamic. Speed up Mundo during his ultimate. Speed up Leona. Talisman Ascension off Leona.
Right.
So there's a lot of I like both of these teams.
Me too.
I feel like this is a very well balanced match.
I mean, so both teams actually have to tank, have to damage, have to CC, have the engage. So it's going to be a closely contested matchup. And also, there's no doubt about Kale's damage potential when he is farmed and fed, right?
Right.
And the fans are excited. I mean, we are excited too. We actually anticipate a bit of a dull matchup, a dull ending to this match, but Najin is not going to let them down easy. Again, Mad Life starting with all wards.
All wards, again. So that very control style coming out of Mad Life, and the slightly greedier style coming out of Kayn. So you can definitely see a discrepancy in their picks. And also what's very interesting about Kayn is, before this, he had extremely similar to picks Mad Life. But throughout the duration of this match, he's picked champions that are very unconventional on him. And that may have thrown CJ off a little bit. Obviously it didn't throw them off in game 1 and 2, they just completely dismantled them. But they may not have prepared against this. So it could definitely, be an advantage for Najin the longer the series goes.
And also Kayn seems to have a good grasp at handling the active option in a tier 3 gold item that he's building right now. Because we've seen him use that actually pretty potently quite often, especially in the last set.
See Doran's Blade start out of Kale. That it's combat stats. Wants to get aggressive. Very standard opening on Kale. Nothing.
Right. And also building some HP against the LeBlanc Canner.
It'll definitely be interesting to see what Coco elects to build as his first item in the LeBlanc matchup. And we have an invade coming in. Now, this is the first time a full-on invade has been done in this series. So CJ definitely trying to apply pressure.
And they do seem to benefit from it. Kha'Zix is forced to pull back and go to the blue.
And we have Shy recalling, so he's just going to go straight back to top. Now, will he use teleport to get there, or will he just simply walk back? And yes, teleport's going to come out.
He doesn't want to lose any experience points.
Which will be fine. His teleport will be up, plenty before anything really dangerous comes on. So now Kale trying to collapse on red because Swift has captured red, and now Swift comes straight to red. Beautiful read right now by CJ.
And Swift and Coco do have the level advantage.
And you notice they killed the minions to, try to get a little bit XP, a little bit HP from the, the jungle camp. So didn't cost them anything, but it's a little minor advantage, even in the slightest.
They chased down Mundo, but Mundo managed to pull Kha'Zix away with his cleaver landing very cleanly.
So now already an advantage off the start for CJ here, where Helios is starting with 1 buff.
And Swift is definitely going to get the triple buff control now.
Yep, absolutely. Especially with Kale being able to protect it so easy, and we see that ward from Mad Life in Dragonside River.
And also, the troll seems to really get into Swift's favor, because Swift really likes to stalk the enemy jungler, and the fact that Kha'Zix is forced to 1 buff, and that buff being the blue buff rather than the red.
Right.
And with Swift having the double buff, Kha'Zix is going to be, at least it's going to be pretty much uncontested all the way.
Right. So we have standard lanes going on right now. Kale out CSing. Well, Coco out CSing Nanya. However, Space in Mad Life again getting kind of smashed in terms of CS and really out-pressured.
It seems like Space and Mad Life are a bit out of form when it comes to laning.
It seems that way. Something seems a little bit off, but you can't take anything away from Prey and Kayn. They are
the supreme, bot lane.
They are, yep. Notorious for being the carriers of Najin.
Right. Also, yeah, and also Mad Life is more perhaps popular than Kane, but Kane's solo queue results have always been better than Madlife.
Unless you go back really far into the past, but historically in solo queue, actually, yes, Kane actually does perform better than Madlife. Which, what does that mean for teams? But it is something to note.
But nothing so significant. I mean, this is a totally different game from
It is an entirely different game. Teams and solo queue are literally entirely different games.
And also, you see Madlife moving to the mid lane, trying to get a roam off, trying to win some points. We see Madlife do this so often.
We do. Madlife will disappear from lane oftentimes if it doesn't make sense to do a recall timing, because and sometimes they'll also disappear to give Space some added XP, so that Space can kind of get an XP lead, a little bit of a bolster when he's not needed. And just by disappearing off the map and going into the fog of war, it creates global pressure because you can't know exactly where he's going. You can have a rough idea, but that little amount of pressure can definitely remove stress from Coco and Shy to an extent, but not at this game timer.
Especially when Madlife is on a champion like Leona with strong mid-ganking potential. Perhaps a Nage is forced back off a little bit, like you said, building global pressure. Right,
and he has to conserve his W a little bit more wisely if Madlife is in the fog of war.
And when LeBlanc's W is pretty kind of low, she's not going to really be able to harass KO before reaching level 6. But he does land the QW.
Really well played so far. Nanye. Coco doing very well though, keeping up in CS, so that's completely fine.
And Coco just knows that there is no reason for him to fight Nage in lane right now. He can just push lane, maybe dirty farm, or recall early, build an item advantage, itemize early.
And now here comes Swift, but a ping went down, so they know Swift is coming, but Limit not reacting, but I guess he knows he has leap up, so he'll just leap to a minion, get away.
And Kha'Zix is now moving up the top lane, perhaps preparing some sort of a counter gank.
Probably, yes, going for a counter gank for sure. Kha'Zix and Jax level 6 is definitely going to outduel Amundo Lee Sin. It's coming. Oh! But Kha'Zix only level 4. That is something to consider. So now this goes down. Lee Sin is here, maybe a little bit earlier than they were expecting, but here comes Kha'Zix from behind.
Going to be able to get the kill off Limit, but
it doesn't seem that. Yep.
I don't think both teams will be able to salvage much, but Helios
but Shy. Here we go. Oh!
Getting the first blood. Great play from Shy.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And that just seemed like miscommunication coming out of Najin. That was a little bit bizarre movement coming out of both of them.
Yes.
Even a little bit so out of Swift and Shy, but they recovered it a lot better.
And now Jax has to suffer all the CS loss too, which is just piling on to CJ's advantage.
And Mundo's teleport is up.
Right.
Now his ultimate's down, but his teleport's up. And this recall is way more beneficial for Mundo. You get the Giant Spell, you get the Chain Vest just against Build Water Cutlass. So now while Jax does have some sustain, Mundo doesn't really care. And he can easily just go behind tower, teleport, and then, you know, what's going to happen. And we also see Jax's teleports down. So
Space cleverly moving away from the aquatic prison. From Kane and off
misses, and they're going to punish that. Pran Kane.
Oh, okay.
Nice juke.
Nice juke on Space, and all the skill shots there seem to be missing all over the place, except, well, Space is harassed.
And Madlife lands it, and the W hits.
And
will it be a kill? Yes, it will.
So we see Space and Madlife actually beat out Kane in a 2v2 lane. This is the first time we've seen this all throughout the series.
Yep, absolutely. Oh, except for in game 1, they did out CS them, but they never got a kill.
Right.
So this was, yes, without jungler assistance. So that's really, that's really good. Now the issue is that Nami's Aqua Prison is down, so the Zenith Blade is so much scarier in that like small gap timing from. So that's a really nitty-gritty timing attack. And in this kind of a lane, you can't make that mistake. Not when you're as squishy as Nami and Varus.
And when you're playing against Leona, whose ability to create a kill opportunities are so supreme.
Right. Now Jax's lifesteal here on Limit. Limit showing the lifesteal and what it can really do. But Shy just presses R. It's a good letter.
That's why laning against Mundo must be so frustrating too. Limit just maybe took in a little too much damage.
This is getting a little too much damage, right? However, it looks like Space got caught, but Madlife. Excellent save. And here comes Swift. Space getting caught a little. I
I find this
Alright.
puzzling, but his flash was down and his E was off.
Right,
so
right. So
really
it makes
didn't have
sense, yeah. But he wasn't even in the bush,
Exactly.
so it's alright.
And I wonder why Kale and Lee Sin weren't able to back up that quickly to the bot lane, given that it was time for Kale to have the blue and they could just travel downwards. And wow, Nane is so ambitiously trying to flash forwards.
Oh!
Wow, a great
Nanya
play
says
from
no
Nane.
thank you.
Wow. How often do you see that? The mid laner stalking the jungler, getting a kill off him.
That is beautiful roam timing. And will they be able to capitalize with anything off it? It just looks like Helios is going to pick up his red. He'll probably get 6 off this. And Shy, oh, he has ultimate on, but will it be a
wow!
Flash coming out of limit?
Before you become but Coco, Helios got
Blows
deleted.
for blows in every lane,
Wow, this
but
is
double buff now on Coco.
Right.
This is really scary because Nanya is out of mana,
and especially with
with Helios being dead, Nanya can't get blue buff right now. So there is a huge timing window, and with how Coco can shove this lane. Now if Nanya elects to get blue buff, the tower is going to take a lot of damage, and Helios is not in a position to really do anything right now.
And watching the OGN games and the NLB games, right, Swift going into the blue buff invade, Jax knows about it. And
Jax knows about it. Will Swift get it in time and just ward out? Yep.
Ward out, right. Oh. From watching so many OGN and NLB games, I'm noticing that the team that controls the opponent's blue buff really seems to be able to snowball. I mean, how... It's a frustrating situation for a mid laner, especially when the opponent mid laner has double buff.
Absolutely. Oh, and a teleport.
Teleport.
And it looks like
Space is caught. He's not going to be able to escape this. So Najin, so limits.
And now they're going to capitalize on Dragon.
Shy can't.
And Shy doesn't have teleport, so this is absolutely perfect timing. Now, Swift elects to recall. They don't need LeBlanc for this, so Kale is going back anyway.
They're going to give away the Dragon.
And now Najin takes the gold lead.
And they're electing to push away the top tower to mitigate the damage slightly. And that teleport from Jax, though, that was something we've seen from Shy in the previous sets, but Limit showing that he's capable of that as well.
Yeah, it was a very good gank opportunity. I'm not sure if Mad Life and Space knew that the ward was there. If they did, it's a little bizarre how they were playing that, considering they could know Jax, his teleport was up, because they saw his last one, so they easily could have had timers on it. I'm a little... Why didn't they just kill that? But, alright. No, that could be on purpose. The tower not getting killed, that could be on purpose. They could want Limit to have to stay in that lane, and it could create false safety.
Instead of Jax going in and beating himself with so many kills. I mean, also the fact that Kale is a little vulnerable to ganks, even with her ultimate.
Kale's a little bit vulnerable to ganks, and it also matters if Nanya can land the silences properly and how fast they can delete Kale. Right. But we also see the issue that's arising is Kale can dirty farm, and LeBlanc really can't.
Unless she uses her ultimate, but that's a waste.
And it's starting to show its head if you look at the CS.
Right.
Nice
juke there. But
perfect!
Maybe Mad Life committed a little too much. He's not going to be able to escape that. And Helios just dealing damage on Space to push him away. Will they be able to push the bot tower away? Push the bot tower?
Absolutely. They're going to take the bot tower because we look, Mundo doesn't have teleport. There's no aid coming. Culling coming down, but Prey and Helios know that. We're just going to eat a few bullets, take this tower, ward the bush, you know, in case Swift or anything's around. But I think they know that Swift is up on the top left-hand side.
Right, and perhaps Swift is moving over there to somehow get a kill off Jax maybe, but Limit is not doing any of that.
Now Nanya getting forced back into mid. It's tier 2, and Coco is about to get that tower. Lee Sin waiting to see if LeBlanc tries to go for a W, because there was no minions to eat any sort of Qs out of Swift. So easily just be, you know, a slow out of Coco and then a follow-up via Swift.
Back ping, they know, and you see, these players are just so aware of everything that goes on. Right? The moment they say, oh, landed some damage to Swift, but he's not going to be able to capitalize on that. And Shy being chased again.
But Jax is a little bit low on mana, and Shy's active is, you know, active. So without Flash and without that mana, and we also see Bork's already down, there's really no kill potential going on.
And it's a very encouraging news, though, for CJ Frost that they managed to take down the first mid tower a little early, giving them significant advantage when it comes to map control.
Right.
And also the top tower is down too.
Top tower's down for bottom tower.
So the left side of Najin's jungle is pretty vulnerable.
Yes. And even though Najin is up a dragon, the gold is relatively even.
Right. Only 100 gold, that's barely a difference.
That's no difference at all. This game is extremely even heading into the mid game.
I mean, 100 gold being like 1 gold.
Basically. 4 or 5 minions. No big deal.
Kale so comfortably taking the blue buff, but but LeBlanc is going to challenge that.
And Kale doesn't have... Coco does not have the mana to contest this.
Right, and although Kale, there were some changes to Kale's ultimate, so there's no mana cost in it, but he does take the blue safely. And Shy is actually pushing lane pretty aggressively. He's not fazed by Jax's presence at all.
Not afraid at all. Not with his ultimate. He doesn't even have boots, but he can just rely on that movement speed boost. Jax only, Limit only has boots level 1.
And also, I'm noticing that Mundo completed the Sunfire Cape and the Cal quite early, and although Jax has the hybrid damage, he's sort of prepared for both the magic and the AD damage.
Yep, he's prepared for both, but this also, it's going into the mid game now because Shy's teleports back up, and you want the Spirit Visage. Not only for the magic resist against LeBlanc and Nami, and also there is AP damage coming out of, Varus, whatever. But
Coco taking in...
Will he take him down? But it does not look like it.
Great play, though. Helios is really on point this time.
Helios is recovering really well from his early game shutdown that was handed to him by Swift and crew.
And they know that
now they're going in, but
flashes
up on Limit, and are they going to be able to... leap, but they will, they will secure the kill, and then Shy just simply goes out of tower aggro, and now they'll take the tower. But they're trading bot tower.
Right.
However, Space arrives, he's going to calling away the minions.
And they successfully get the top tower down. I think they'll be able to...
And again, Blade of the Ruin King.
Right.
This is really, really interesting. Now, yes, it does help his ultimate, and it does help his peel, and it helps him stay alive, but...
How much damage is he really going to be able to deal with the Blade of the Ruin King?
Yeah, it's very awkward. It looks like they're putting all their eggs into Coco and Shy.
Right.
And Space is filling the role as utility.
But it is true that Kale's damage dealing potential is really, really high at the moment with Nashor's Tooth complete and another attack speed item. And also the fact that Kale's ultimate is going to mitigate the damage from Nagne.
The Assassin Burst, right, coming out of Kha'Zix and LeBlanc. Especially if Coco can time it right.
Going to be picked.
Spot. But he messed up. But Helios here to. But Mad Life saying no, thank you.
Right, a beautiful solo for that. But and the heal comes in. And Space escapes Space safely. The teleport.
However, teleport coming out, and the pings go down on it. They're completely aware of it.
They're very aware of it.
So that is very unfortunate for Limit. He's not going to get. And now will Limit pay the price? And it seems that way, and...
Kale's damage just cannot be handled. Shy didn't even teleport here, he just walked here
just walked in, so his teleport's still up, so... If they secure any sort of objective here, the fact that Shy can then teleport to another objective, shove a lane or anything, that's really dangerous.
Right.
And it looks like they've forced Najin to concede Dragon. So this should possibly be an easy Dragon? Yeah, now Najin shows up in mid, they know, okay, you guys can't get here. I have Smite up, we're just gonna melt this. Okay, and then teleport going back top. So that's just what I was talking about. So secure Dragon, go back top, shove the lane.
Very standard play, but it seems like it's exactly those kind of easy plays, those obvious plays that must be made.
Right.
And which are so very difficult to execute actually. Much easier.
Some of the best plays are the most simple, that you overlook them.
Right.
And then also, what was very fortunate for Shy here is that the minion wave arrived at the tower, so he's able to just teleport onto the tower, thus reducing the cooldown on teleport even greater.
With the recent summoner spell changes, right? I mean, are you going to adapt fast enough? It seems like actually both teams have adapted, and so this is really going to be a contest of really who's going to be able to outplay who.
It looks like Nanya is about to get caught, and nope. But the ward will see. The ward will see him. So they have an idea of where he is, and Coco is just going to farm up here. get even further ahead. Look at the CS gap. And now we see the gold gap is starting to be decided. Now they're both even on dragons. Now, CJ is up on towers, which is fine. But the CS is really starting to tell the tale. Look at Mundo versus Jax. Look at Kale versus LeBlanc. Now, yes, Prey and Kane did outlane Mad Life in space. But the CS from the other lanes are just starting to tell a story.
Also, it's not like Lucian is so completely denied to a point of irreparable damage.
Measures, right.
That, he's going to be, I think he's going to be able to complete his Trinity Force much earlier than he did in Game 3, at least. But I really must... I'm really having a hard time understanding the BRK build, the board build. He's went through this... I know that a lot of professional players prefer the Bloodthirster.
Bloodthirster or Trinity Force, and there is a lot of rules that go into how you build it, and not just team comps, but how the lane's going, color.
Right.
But I've never seen Bork first.
Right,
So this is... I would love to, find out the reasoning behind it.
I mean, I remember when Lucian first came out, the reason why he was so underrated is because most players chose the build Bork first, but they moved away from that build, but now we see Space going back to it. I wonder what this really... He spawns the ward over there.
I can see it as a second core item, especially on mid Lucian.
Especially.
But to build it first every single game and then complete into Triforce, it's striking me really bizarre.
How often do you see this Runa's Hurricane? Kale.
On Feral Flare Kale, I see it.
Right.
But this isn't Feral Flare Kale, so this is actually is a little bit... Yep, it's mid Kale, so this is a little bit unique.
I don't think I've ever seen Runa's Hurricane in a professional match, other than Hero, who used to play for KT Arrows.
Okay.
He used to build Runa's Hurricane on his Varus, but not on Kale. I've never seen it in a professional match.
This is the first for me.
And wow, Mad Life forcing
the
Mad Life. He lands the Zenith Blade, and wow, perfectly synergized. Prey was just caught there, rendered helpless. He managed to flash away the Solar Flare, but Mad Life just landing the Zenith Blade at the very tip of it.
And now will Shy just elect to tank this tower, or will they wait for the minion wave? Looks like they're gonna play really safe.
Right.
And Limit is called out of top lane. So Mad Life is going for the wards. That is not the greatest tidal wave.
And I think
tower goes down, and there is the insect out of Swift.
Swift just doing the perfect insect. I mean, although that was a flash ult, but I mean, it looked
alright.
like an insect.
Swift insect, it's fine.
It's fine.
Same name.
We'll call that the Swift from now on. If he flashes back at me. It's all talking about doing the insect. It's incredible how players just game. Oh, but Nanya
is getting caught out by Kale. Kale flashes for it.
Wow, Coco is dominating again. They're not going to be able to finish Swift off.
And now it's just falling apart.
Right.
CJ seems to have the ball rolling. Their team is scaling way harder. They're up 4K gold. They have map dominance.
Needlessly large rod on Kale. How scary is that? Unless she completes her Zhonya's Hourglass or her Rabadon's Death Cap.
Or will it be DFG? Will she go for DFG? I would personally like to see Zhonya's here because, again, when you're ahead, stay ahead.
Right.
You complete Zhonya's, now you don't just have your ultimate that has to be used on you. You have Zhonya's. Kha'Zix jumps on you, Zhonya's. Jax jumps on you, Zhonya's. Just basically say no thanks.
And also for like those high burst champions like Kha'Zix or LeBlanc or Jax.
Right. The armor value. The armor value.
And Space is just really comfortably completing his Trinity Force. It just seems like the Blade of the Roaring King Voice is not really hurting him
right.
at this moment. And they're controlling the buff. The entire jungle actually belongs to CJ now. Given their tower advantage, I mean their advantage in gold.
I believe Space only has to come up with 300 gold total to complete Trinity Force, so that's not really...
Right.
And Prey needs to pray right now because he barely makes it out.
And Mad Life Solar Flare just seems to be on point this game.
Absolutely. And now they're just warding them into their own jungle. Dragon will be up soon, but we saw in one of the previous games, you will trade Dragon for mid inhibitor.
Tower, right. But what good is 200 or so gold when your mid inhibitors now, right? And Nagne's contra Lisa's Q lands.
But Swift does elect to go for it, and he hits, but Helios
is caught back because Q lands again, forces the safeguard into the already warded bush. Helios is not going to survive this.
And Helios just basically acknowledges there, I'm not getting out. Let me try to put as much damage on for my team as possible because there's nothing I can do here. Now Limit, and meanwhile, does capture top tower, but they're going to trade that for Dragon,
right?
Which it's not. You know, obviously it benefits CJ. However, having that top tower there for Dragon Dances, it does create some safety to fall back to if you can manage to keep it alive for extended games like that.
The Shy teleports onto the top tower, preventing Jax from really capitalizing on that. I mean, that's a logical choice that Jax is left alone. Who knows how quickly the tower can be taken down, right? Given Jax's siege potential. And they take the Dragon, they
shove bot lane.
And they protect the top tower.
Right. And now Kale's just simply going to recall. Here we go with the replay again.
Right.
So Lee Sin hits the Q. He waits to see what am I jumping into with my Q. He doesn't activate it right away. He decides I can hit 1 or 2 people with my R. Hits it onto Helios. Q's onto him. The ward's there for the W. He can reveal Helios. Helios just turns around and he goes, I can't make it.
An incredible display of supreme mechanics from Swift. But he has landed Lee Sin's Q twice in a row out of the furthest range possible.
Right, max range. Right. Max range.
The mechanics of these players are simply incredible. I mean, it used to be that the Faker was pretty much the only one capable of landing all these plays, but now it seems like mechanics are almost a given if you're going to play in top-tier teams.
Absolutely. As the game keeps evolving and as metas keep shifting and as things just start getting more and more nitty-gritty and it becomes that much harder to stay above the rest of the tiers, everyone's being forced to find a way to make them stand out.
And earlier we were talking about doing the Insect. The Insect used to be a play that exclusively belonged to Insect, but now we see some lower ELO players doing the Insect as well. I mean,
absolutely. You can expect that out of a lot of people, even in Korean solo queue at lower LOs. Because they take it serious. They want to perfect these mechanics that they're seeing pro players do, OGN, NLB. Now here we have a Baron. And Limit does have teleport up. It looks like he's coming in. Mad Life is here for a perfect... And Baron
is just...
melted.
Oh my goodness! Incredible solar flare from Mad Life, catching 3 of them at the same time. That is as good as a Leona ult can get.
Absolutely.
Mad Life is just on form. In churches they say Amen. In Summoner's Rift we say Madman. Incredible play from Mad Life. Prey is caught there. He can pray, but he can't escape. Oh, the Q lands again.
Swift really showing his ability on Lee Sin tonight. This is absolutely beautiful.
It's also hard to really say who's carrying the game because all of CJ's players seem to be on point this set.
Yep. Shy, every single game with really high CS, always outlaning Limit in terms of CS. And here it looks like, will this be the death push? KO! Coco
trusting that ult.
Right. Gets away. Double kill. Goes on to Swift.
Swift is just literally swiftly shoving all those
and Shy saying towers are nothing to me.
Right, I'm not gonna die here. I'm a zombie. And look at this.
The crowd is going wild. It looks like CJ is gonna push for the game here. Do they have the damage? It seems so, but Najin not conceding yet.
I mean,
almost goes down. Swift, the tower is melting. And it seems like your NLB
are we going to see
champions,
the newly anointed NLB champions? CJ Entis Frost wins the series 3-1 in absolutely dominating fashion.
Absolutely deserved. Taking out K in the semis and then advancing and taking a convincing